Može jedan aplauz. I Clement, jako mi je drago da si sa nama.
I'm very glad that you are with us.
I spremali smo se za ovo, dugo smo se dopisivali.
We have prepared for this for a long time. We corresponded to each other.
I sad se potrafilo da ste tu.
And now it happened that you are here.
Tako da dobrodošao.
So welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Hvala vam što ste me primili, čast je biti ovde.
Ja bih volio prvo da se predstaviš.
I would like you to introduce yourself.
Čisto kažeš ko si, šta si, i onda bih volio da čujemo kako si ti postao hrišćan pre nego što išta uđemo u neku drugu priču.
And before we enter the long story, we want to know how you became a Christian.
So, hello everyone.
Zdravo svima.
My name is Clement. I'm originally from Sri Lanka.
Ja sam Clement i originalno sam iz Šri Lanke.
I'm here because I've traveled to originally to Croatia and now to Serbia to set up restaurants.
I ovde sam zato što sam prvobitno putovao u Hrvatsku i u Beograd da otvorim restorane.
I'm 40 years old. My journey in Christianity dates back about 12 years.
Moje putovanje sa Hristom datira do 12 godina.
I come originally from a Buddhist background.
Dolazim prvobitno iz budističke pozadine.
If you do not know, Sri Lanka is about 70% Buddhist.
Ako ne znate, Šri Lanka je 70% budistička zemlja.
Then there's Islam, Hindu, and Christianity is less than 3%. If I'm
I onda postoji hinduizam i hrišćanstvo je hinduizam i manje od 3% hrišćanstvo. I met my wife and she's the one who told me about Christianity. Upoznao sam svoju suprugu i ona je ta koja mi je rekla o hrišćanstvu.
And on my own it became more and more interesting.
I sve sam više postao zainteresovan.
And that's how I gave my life to Jesus.
I tako sam predao svoj život Hristu.
I koje promene to donelo?
What kind of change did it bring?
It brought a lot of meaning.
Puno značenja je donelo, smisla.
My life was, when you say I come from a Buddhist background, what does it mean to be Buddhist?
Ja dolazim iz budističke pozadine. Šta to znači biti budista?
Or Christian, or Islam?
Ili hrišćanin ili musliman?
Is it what it says on the birth certificate?
Da li je to ono što piše na rodnom listu?
Or is it the way you're actually living life?
Ili je to način kako živiš život?
I really didn't feel like I was living a life of Buddhism.
Nisam se osjećao kao da živim taj budistički život.
Of any religion at that time.
Ili od bilo koje religije u to vreme.
But it's a bit hard to explain of the spiritual connection I had with God.
Teško je objasniti tu duhovnu konekciju koju sam imao sa Bogom.
And I was able to have a personal connection.
I mogao sam da uspostavim taj lični odnos.
Sa Hristom.
With Christ.
Yes, of course, with Jesus Christ.
Da, naravno, s Isusom Hristom.
Čisto da pojasnimo.
Just to make sure we are clear here.
A to je jako bitno reći, pošto u budizmu lični odnos ne postoji.
It's important to say because in Buddhism there is no personal relationship.
No, there isn't.
Nema ga.
Ali sa Hristom imamo, to je fantastično.
But with Christ we have it, that's fantastic.
Exactly.
I to nas čini braćom i sestrom. Da.
That makes us brothers and sister.
Da, u Hristu Isusu.
In Christ Jesus.
Kaže da si došao u Hrvatsku da osnuješ restoran.
You said you came to Croatia to form a restaurant. That was your first original goal?
Yes, 8 years ago I came from Sri Lanka because I had this idea to create Sri Lankan food restaurants. And
pre 8 godina sam imao želju da dođem i da otvorim restoran sa hranom iz Šri Lanke.
And we opened a small restaurant in the city center in Zagreb.
I otvorili smo mali restoran u centru Zagreba.
Da, i kako se zove restoran?
What's the name of the restaurant?
Curry Bowl.
Yeah.
Curry Bowl.
Da. Znači različito nego u Beogradu.
It's different than in Belgrade.
Just the name is a little different.
Samo ime je malo drugačije.
But the concept and food is the same.
Ali koncept i hrana je isto.
Ali onda si odlučio da dođeš u Srbiju.
But then you decided to come to Serbia.
Kako se to desilo?
How did that happen?
So the whole idea was always to create and make a restaurant chain in Europe.
Cijela ideja je bila da u Evropi napravim lanac restorana.
So although I had success in Croatia,
iako sam imao uspeh u Hrvatskoj,
Samo da proverim, vidio sam da si prvi, da je tvoj restoran na prvom mestu u nekoj preporuci bio.
I think I saw somewhere in the recommendation your restaurant was on first place.
The one in Croatia is ranked number 1 restaurant in Zagreb out of all restaurants.
U Hrvatskoj u Zagrebu je broj 1 restoran, proglašen broj 1.
And 6 months ago we opened in Belgrade.
I pre 6 meseci smo otvorili restoran u Beogradu.
And within 6 months we are now ranked number 4 out of 1,400 restaurants in Belgrade.
I od 1400 restorana smo rangirani 4. na listi.
Ja, bravo. Ja, siguran da to Bog blagosilja.
I'm sure that God blesses that.
Absolutely.
Ja prekinuo sam te u priče, prosto sam želeo da proverim. Krenuo si da pričaš kako si došao u Beograd.
You started telling how you came to Belgrade.
Yes, so although we wanted to create a restaurant that can go all over Europe,
iako smo hteli da otvorimo restoran koji će da se širi širom Evrope,
the investors wanted to see whether this concept can be successful in the main capital city of the region.
Hteli smo da vidimo koliko će ovaj restoran postati uspešan u glavnom gradu u regionu.
Belgrade is highly competitive.
Beograd je visoko kompetitivan.
And that's why we wanted to first come here
I zato smo hteli ovde prvo da dođemo.
To prove that it works.
Da dokažemo da funkcioniše.
Super. I kako je bilo doći u Beograd?
How was it? How was the feeling to come to Belgrade?
Proces.
The process that you came here.
Well, I would say there was challenges.
Mogu reći da je bilo izazova.
And when I look back, it's all worth it now.
Kada pogledam unazad, sve je bilo vredno toga.
One of the challenges that I faced was nothing new to me.
Jedna od izazova koje sam iskusio i nije bilo ništa novo za mene.
I come from Šri Lanka.
Dolazim iz Šri Lanke.
And when I first was doing restaurants in Sri Lanka,
i kada sam prvi put osnovao restorane u Šri Lanki,
I was faced to work with the system.
Suočio sam se da sarađujem sa sistemom.
And that system involves a lot of corruption.
I taj sistem je sadržao puno korupcije.
I had to pay a lot of bribes.
Morao sam puno da podmićujem ljude.
To run an absolute normal legal business.
Da bih vodio legalan posao tamo.
It came to a point where I was doing yearly bribes, monthly bribes, weekly bribes.
Došlo je do situacije kada sam morao da podmićujem ljude na mesečnom, nedeljnom i godišnjem nivou.
My walk in Christ was not so strong back then.
Moja etika nije bila baš jaka u to vreme.
Kod s Hristom.
Kod s Hristom, hvala.
But when I decided to leave Sri Lanka, I told myself, I'm giving myself a fresh start.
Ali kada sam odlučio da odem iz Šri Lanke, hteo sam da započnem nešto novo, da dam sebi nov početak.
And one thing I would do is not bribe anymore.
A jedna stvar koju ću raditi je da više ne podmićujem nikog.
So, but when I came to Belgrade to set up this restaurant in the city center,
ali kada sam došao u Beograd da u centru grada osnujem restoran,
I faced quite a similar situation.
Suočio sam se sa prilično sličnom situacijom.
To set up the business, in one hand, I had to please my investors.
I s jedne strane sam morao da ugodim svojim ulagačima da bih mogao da osnujem posao.
And on the other hand, I had to try to work with the system who was expecting certain payments to get the paperwork done.
Ali, can you repeat the sentence?
Morao je da se suoči sa sistemom koji traži određenu nadoknadu da bi dobio određene papire.
Hvala.
Okay. And so this part was very difficult.
Ovaj deo je bio veoma težak.
Because I would say that I have experience working in the Balkans.
Rekao bih da imam iskustvo sa radom na Balkanu.
I'm 8 years now.
Sada je već 8 godina.
And then all the people around me started discounting my capabilities.
Svi ljudi oko mene su počeli da preispituju moje sposobnosti.
They said, "Oh, you're from Sri Lanka. You don't know how system works in this part of the world."
Ti si iz Šri Lanke, govorili su mi, ne znaš kako sistem funkcioniše u ovom delu sveta.
The higher businessmen don't care how I get the job done. They expect the job to be done when they have invested in the business.
Biznismenima da bi uložili u posao nije bitno kako se posao odradi, bitno je da se odradi.
So I even had certain members of my family in good faith in the way they see it tell me, listen, people have trusted you with their money. You need to get the job done.
Čak su mi neki iz porodice rekli, ljudi su ti poverili novac, treba da dobro odradiš posao.
So this costed us a lot because I stayed strong and I said, no,
Ovo je koštalo mnogo i morao sam da ostanem jak.
We will not pay any bribes for various requirements for opening the restaurants in the city center.
I neću podmititi nikog zbog različitih potreba koje su bile zbog da se otvori restoran.
And you know, with my experience, I have to say,
sa mojim iskustvom moram da kažem,
it's not as bad as people say it is in Serbia.
Nije toliko loše koliko ljudi kažu da je u Srbiji loše.
If you stand your ground,
ako se držiš čvrsto nečega,
maybe not always,
možda ne uvek,
but with help of God, for me it worked out.
Ali sa pomoću Božjom i za mene to je uspelo.
We opened the restaurant, we had delays of nearly a year.
Imali smo neka odlaganja godinu dana nakon što smo otvorili restoran.
Da otvorimo restoran.
We and opened the whole thing without paying even €1 of bribes.
I bez €1 podmićivanja mita smo otvorili restoran.
Da, nama je to jako bitno, mi kao crkva stalno molimo protiv korupcije.
It's very important for us, we as a church are praying all the time against corruption.
Znači svake nedelje to je jedna od tema naše molitve.
Every week that's one of the topics of our prayers.
I zato mi je bilo značajno da čujemo i ovako svedočanstvo.
And that's why it was significant for us to hear this kind of testimony.
Da, kako hrišćanstvo utiče na neke druge oblasti što se tiče tog biznisa?
How does Christianity influence some of the other aspects of your business?
You know, it can sometimes be challenging, you know, to be a Christian and
može biti izazovno da budem hrišćanin
and to be to compete in this world
i da se takmičim u ovom svetu
when I am trying to pay all the taxes,
kada pokušavam da platim sve takse, porez,
and when competitors will avoid to pay the taxes,
i da li će konkurencija da izbegnu da plate porez.
This can be challenging.
Ovo može biti izazovno.
But I think our faith is that God doesn't reveal what He's doing to us at that moment.
Mislim, naša vera je u tome da će nam Bog otkriti u tom trenutku šta se dešava.
So I don't always know exactly what the outcome is going to be.
Ne znam uvek šta će biti ishod.
But I have faith and we keep pushing.
Ali idemo dalje i imam veru.
Da, super. Super, to je veliko svedočanstvo čuti.
That's a big testimony to hear it.
Da, kako, jer bitno je da hrišćanstvo ne bude samo nešto apstraktno, nego da utiče na svaku oblast našeg života.
And it's important not for Christianity to be something abstract, but to have influence in our own lives.
Yeah, true. You see, one of the unique things about our concept is I work with mostly young people.
Jedan od koncepata je da radim najviše uglavnom sa mladim ljudima.
And the reason why I work with young people,
i razlog zašto radim sa mladim ljudima,
just from a business point, it's easier to get them to do what you really want them to do.
Sa tačke biznisa želimo da radimo ono što oni žele da radimo.
They are willing to listen
oni su voljni da slušaju
and adapt to your system.
I da se prilagode vašem sistemu.
And the people who work in our business see the principles that we're having.
Ljudi sa kojima radimo vide principe koje imamo.
So I think as business people, as Christian business people, we have a responsibility.
Kao hrišćani biznismeni imamo odgovornost
to represent Jesus Christ when we're doing work.
Da u tom radu predstavljamo Isusa Hrista.
We can't be one thing in church on Sundays and then go out to our week and then be something different.
Ne možemo biti jedno u nedeljom u crkvi, a onda posle u toku nedelje biti nešto drugo.
A question I ask the young guys who come to work.
Pitanje koje postavljam mladićima koji dolaze na posao.
Who tell me they refuse to buy the bus ticket.
Oni odbijaju da kupe autobusku kartu.
So I asked them, so when you had the opportunity to steal 50 dinars, you will do it.
Kada imaš priliku da daš 50 dinara, da ukradeš 50 dinara, onda ćeš to uraditi.
But if you reach a certain level where you can steal 50,000 euros,
ako imaš priliku da ukradeš 50 eura, 50.000 eura, hvala.
Do you mean you will not do it?
Da li misliš da to nećeš uraditi?
So before you try to point at leaders and complain about them. We need to focus on ourselves from the bus ticket.
Pre nego što ukažemo na vođe i da se žalimo na njih, moramo mi platiti svoju autobusku kartu.
So yeah, I mean, being a Christian, there is a lot of responsibility I think we have as business people.
Mi kao biznismeni imamo veoma veliku odgovornost kao hrišćani.
Hvala ti puno. Restoran se zove Curry Soul.
Curry Soul is the name of the restaurant.
The restaurant name in Belgrade is Curry Souls.
Curry Soul se zove u Beogradu.
We are in the city center. If you have heard of the street Obilići Venac.
Na Obilićevom vencu u Beogradu, u centru grada.
There's a big garage.
Postoji velika garaža tamo.
I'm there most of the time. If you're in Belgrade, please come and say hi.
Ako dođete u Beograd, molim vas vratite da se javite.
Rad. Thank you very much.
Gladly.
Thank you.
Thank you.